Okay, here I am live, it seems. Right, let's just sort out what I'm going to be doing. Make sure everything's working all right. I hope that you can hear my voice because oh, yes, now there's a green thing going along at the bottom, so that should work. Yeah, I suppose that's it then. Right, okay. I cannot believe now it is less than 3 weeks until the 22nd of March tour of Winchester that I'm going to be hosting. For those who don't know already about this, I'm going to be doing a whole day tour. Starts at 10:30 in the morning, goes on till 5 in the afternoon. There's obviously a break halfway through. I can show you around Winchester for those who want to come along, and give you all the information about that in a while, and to basically talk about the legend of King Arthur, the history, the research that I've done, all of the work that I've been doing about King Arthur over the last 50 years at various places in Winchester that are associated with the Arthurian legend. In fact, Winchester's got more places associated with the Arthurian legend in a small area than any place else in the country, as far as I can work out. That includes Tintagel or Glastonbury. I mean, Tintagel is said to be where Arthur was born. Glastonbury is said to be where he was buried. But Winchester has got a place where he's supposed to have drawn the sword from the stone. It's supposed to have been where the Grail was hidden. It is supposed to have been, according to some legends, where Excalibur was thrown, and so on. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But because it's got places associated with all different aspects of the Arthurian story, I thought it'd be wonderful for me to be able to talk to people at those sites and explaining my research into it. Say, for example, at the site where he is supposed to have pulled the sword from the stone, which is the cathedral courtyard outside Winchester Cathedral, and what that legend actually meant. Why was he supposed to have pulled a sword from a stone? Did it ever happen? Winchester, according to some of the earliest writers, and particularly Thomas Malory, who was the author of the most famous Arthurian romance, Le Morte d'Arthur, which was made into the film Excalibur by John Boorman. That place where he became king is said, according to Malory, to be Winchester. Malory's original manuscript was found at Winchester College. And so, okay, why did he come up to those conclusions at this place? What did the story mean? And if Arthur became king at Winchester, why was Winchester involved? The legend said that it was his early stronghold before he founded Camelot later. It was a place where his father, Uther Pendragon, ruled from. And there's both myths, legends. There's also various documents which at least claim to be historically accurate from the Dark Ages that say that Arthur is associated originally with Winchester. So obviously I can go to that place, I can talk about the sword and stone legend, I can talk about how Arthur originated at a place that's associated with him. Now, I'm not saying specifically that the historical Arthur necessarily did come from there, but I'll look into the arguments that he may have done, but I'll look into all the various aspects of Arthur becoming the leader of the Britons, both from an historical point of view and from the legend and the literature of the Middle Ages, at, as I say, the place it's supposed to have happened. So this is what I'd like to be able to do. I'll be talking about all my research over the years into the Holy Grail, the story of Excalibur, who Arthur may really have been, according to my research, where he was buried, and all this actually at places that are in legend at the very least associated with him. So that's the one-day tour. Just to give you some idea of the kind of places, because a few people said to me, I didn't really realize that Winchester was that tied up with Arthur. Okay, here's some of the links that there are with him. Okay, got a list here. Here we got it. When we actually meet on the day of the tour, we're going to be near the statue of the one of the first kings of England, not Arthur, but this is the Anglo-Saxon king Alfred the Great. And right there used to be an abbey. And at that abbey, various documents were kept during the Middle Ages. St. Mary's Abbey, it was called, which recorded the legends, the myths, and the supposed history of Arthur, who had lived around 1500 years ago, many years before the time that these manuscripts were at St. Mary's Abbey. So that's where the story was preserved. So what better place, actually at the ruins of St. Mary's Abbey, to be able to talk about what were these early documents that made anybody think that Arthur was real anybody? How did they even know about him? They started writing about him a lot in the Middle Ages, but that was hundreds of years after the time he was said to have lived. So then we move on to fortifications that were there in Roman times in Winchester and Roman Winchester that were rebuilt at the time that Arthur is said to have lived, around 500 AD. And if Mallory and other writers were correct, then this may have been the historical figure behind the Arthur legend that was actually refortifying this city that he began his reign with, or his campaigns, or whichever way you want to look at it. What better place to look at the work that I have done into unveiling who the historical Arthur might have been? What's the actual evidence for this? Where are the documents? What were they? So you get my idea. I'm going to be actually talking about all these aspects of my research and all sorts of other aspects of the Arthurian story and legend and history at the relevant sites. We'll be going to the Water Garden, which was a reconstructed Roman water garden where early legend associates the Grail. And I'm not going to say the Grail was ever actually there, but what was the Grail? Were there more than one? What is it supposed to be? How did it tie up with King Arthur? What were my own adventures in trying to search for the truth behind the Grail legend? What better place to talk about it? And on we go. I mean, and there's other places, and eventually we reach the Great Hall at Winchester, where upon the wall there's a huge round table said to be the very item that was created by King Arthur. Is it genuine? What does it mean? Talking about the latest research that suggests it may be a lot older than people think and wasn't some medieval fake, although the painting of it was only done in the 1500s, the painting on the surface of it. So anyway, this is it. We can go through various aspects of the Arthurian story and my research into it being told at the places associated with them. So that's it, basically. That's what my tour is going to be. Anybody who wants to come along on this and wants to book for it, you can find out, or basically all you need to do is in the title description on this YouTube little talk now, you will see a link, and that means you can book on the tour. It's £56. That's not much really for a whole day's work. I mean, the other day I spent £35 on an Indian meal. So it's not an awful lot of money for what you get for it, if you ask my humble opinion. But anyway, there you go. But you can book that at the link that's provided on the description bit underneath the title of this video. There we go. I don't know if anybody's been actually listening to this. I assume that people will be later on. No, does anybody want any questions? No. Anyway, even if they did, I'm not quite sure how I switched that bit on. Anyway, there we go. Thank you very much for listening. I shall share this on Facebook as well, and Instagram and so forth. And I shall put other links underneath it in the comment section. If you want to know more about this, there you go. Thank you for watching. Those of you who will in the future, and those of you who are doing it now. Oh, somebody's put, oh yeah, I can see there is messages. I come from Germany and I've seen some of the movies about King Arthur. Never thought somebody would solve the mystery. Oh, well, I think I have solved quite a few of the mysteries of it. I've written a couple of books about it. One of them, I think, King Arthur, the true story. That's published in German. So you could read it in German. I would obviously probably read English far better than I'll ever be able to read German. But yeah, King Arthur True Story has got all the information in it. So thank you. Brown Hat Knight is what your name is. Brilliant. Okay, I shall leave it at that, I suppose. Bye for now. I've got to figure out how to switch this off now. In fact, I have absolutely no idea. No. See, if I can't switch this off, I'm going to be going on forever and ever. End stream. There we go. I was looking for a red button and it's white. Bye then.